Today we're going to be watching the Macron Challenge Cup. This is a tournament that was created by the Northwest Counties Football League. It's open to all 61 of their teams, and we're going to be watching one of these games today. To explain how the tournament actually works with the 61 teams, 3 teams actually get a bye through the first round. They are last year's winners, and then the 2 teams that finished highest without being promoted from the previous season, and they are Paddingham and Ramsbottom United for this year. So then for the other 58 teams, they get seeded into localised groups so that the travel isn't as much, with this being, quite low down in the English football pyramid. And then the teams that had a bye get seeded into those groups as well. If you want to see the seedings, they're on screen now. The competition carries on like this until the quarter-final round, at which point I believe it's then random draw with the teams that are still left in it. And then the final's been played at Accrington Stanley's ground for the last 2 years, so I'm going to wager a bet and say that it's going to be played there again this year. So it's quite a big possibility for these teams to play at quite a big ground for their level. So today we're actually going to be watching a third round game of this. We're going to be watching Cheadle Town versus Chatterton. To get to this point, Cheadle Town had to beat Glossop North End and Main Road FC to get to this point, whereas for Chatterton they've had to beat Earnham and New Mills, which is leading to this round of 16 tie. In their last 6 games, Cheadle Town have only won once, and that was in mid-October, whereas in the same time frame, Chatterton have won 3 of their last 6. So it's going to be an interesting game. It's going to be the lowest league I've personally ever seen live, but it's still organised football. It's still going to be fun. So let's get to the ground and let's get watching. I'll see you in a minute.
I came in a bit before the opening set. I took the bet. I know the rest is good, I guess. The cavern is a crowd around, and I can scarce get by on second breaths between the breaths. Now it's 1 a.m. and I don't know how I'll get home. The way is barely paved. I can't keep my eyes from closing in between each rest, but I'm not going to cave. I guess I made it. Yeah, I said that I'll come along this time, but when I try, I get the feeling I someday will die, and I'm not going to care. I never sleep, I never eat, I never leave my house alone. Another evening in between what I believe and what I know and what I know.
Go score for Cheadle with 9, Ollie Broad.
Myself is still safe face. Now we're on our way before I quit at 9:30.
Yeah.
What I believe and what I know and what I know.
Okay, so conclusions from the Cheadle Town and Chadderton game. Firstly, I want to say that watching Step 5 of English football is really fun. It was a lot more scrappy and a lot more like the English football that, my dad mentions when he was younger. And I think it's good that that type of football still exists in the English pyramid and isn't all, ball on the floor, passing about. Even if that is objectively better football, it is still good to see that the more scrappy, lob it up to a striker, counter-attack type of football still exists and is still thriving in lower leagues. Cheadle Town won, which means they will be going through to the quarterfinals, in which they'll play Berska on the 14th of February. So that's going to be an interesting round. I really hope they get through. I'll be following their progress for the rest of the season in this cup, hoping that they go on to win. And if they get to the final, I might see if I can get to it, just so I can say that I've been to the final. I think that would be a lot of fun, so I will keep that in mind depending on how Cheadle Town do in the next few rounds. I do think, however, if I'm being completely honest, Chatterton probably were the better team during the game, but towards the end, Cheadle Town really dug in and defended really quite well. So that ultimately is what got them the win and the qualification for the next round. But like I said, they won, and that's important for Cheadle Town right now, going through a period of difficult results. This win really could be something that propels them to do better for the rest of the season and finish or carry on their season in a really good way. And like I said before, hopefully they go on to do well in this cup as well, and that can be a little bit of a feel-good story for the team, the fans, and the players. The setup at Cheadle Town was also quite fun and different, for at least for what I've seen so far. You had to walk through a shipping container to get into the stadium. That's where you bought your ticket and went through the gates. They had a five-a-side pitch, which I believe people could go on. I think most of the kids were on it, so I didn't try to go anywhere near it, to be honest. But then they also have another field at one end of the pitch, and that is just there. I assume other teams use it, maybe Sunday League teams, maybe their women's team, academy teams, that sort of thing. And I think this game really highlights the fact that you can make any level of sports fun watching it, as long as you buy into the level of football or sports in general you are watching. If you're going into this game thinking that it's going to be the best game of football ever, thinking that you're going to watch Premier League level, Champions League level footballers, you're not going to have a good time. But if you go in thinking this is going to be a laugh, this is going to be something good to do for a few hours, supporting local community, that sort of stuff, then you'll have fun, you'll enjoy it, and it's a good way to spend a bit of a Saturday if you've got nothing else to do. To add on to this, the food was actually a lot better quality than I thought it was going to be for Step 5 of the English football pyramid. Going into the game, I wasn't actually 100% sure they'd be selling food. I didn't know if that's something that they had the money and the capacity to do. That might just be a bit of ignorance and from my end, to be fair. The food actually tasted a lot better than I thought it would for Step 5 of the English pyramid. I didn't have too much high hopes, but I was just happy that they had food there at this point. It kept me warm. But also it did taste nice. Like, let's not take this away from the tasting of the food. It was a good pie, it was good chips. I really enjoyed it. So I don't really have too much more to say. Like I said, I will be following Cheadle Town's progress. I hope you all enjoyed watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.